Now, how do we turn risk into opportunity? Well, we talked about how investors are doing that. We talked about how investors are buying at rock bottom prices. Lease renegotiations have been going on forever. They've become a buzzword in the last 3 years. A lot of people in my industry are calling up tenants and saying, we'll renegotiate your lease, we'll renegotiate your lease. A lot of real estate advisors don't understand how to renegotiate leases, but the opportunity exists. The opportunity is tremendous. If you have a choice of putting your surplus space on the market for sublease, in a market where there's no demand and tremendous oversupply and a lot of sublease competitors, why would you do that? Your lease has value. A few slides ago, we talked about, can you save the building? Well, landlords need to secure financing. They need long-term financing. Long-term financing is more easily achievable with long-term leases. Lenders are more comfortable with a building that's got some vacancy but long-term leases as compared to a building that's full and everything's short. So you have value in your lease. And the quid pro quo is, Mr. Landlord, we'll consider extending our lease. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 years left on our lease or longer. We'll add 5 years, we'll add 10 years. We'd like you to do a bunch of things, including take back our surplus space, paint and carpet, fix this up, fix that up, reduce our rental rate, give us some free rent, buy me a new car, whatever I need, okay? Those transactions are happening all the time. So it's a real opportunity. But the quid pro quo is extending the lease. And from a business perspective, you have to be prepared and make sure that that makes sense. And 1 or 2 or 3 years doesn't usually cut it. I've had a lot of companies say, yeah, but I've got too much time left on my lease. No one's going to renegotiate. We can point to transactions that we've done with 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We renegotiated a lease in Eatontown last year for a company that occupied 30,000 square feet of tech space. They had 4 years left on their lease. And we found them about $1 million. We just completed a lease renegotiation in Toronto for a 100,000 square foot manufacturing facility. We reduced that from 195 to 115,000 square feet. We found $10 million in that acquisition. $10 million, and we repurposed that for our clients' use in other ways. Our clients happy. The opportunity exists no matter how long you have in your lease, no matter how much space you have. Even if you're a 3 or 4 or 5,000 square foot tenant, you may be important to that landlord. So size doesn't matter, term doesn't matter. You can achieve lower occupancy costs, you can lock in future increases, you can get free rent now, help with your own cash flow, construction allowances, cash, capital improvements to the building. You can eliminate challenging lease terms. It's a great time to crack open your lease and take a look and maybe renegotiate out the ugly stuff that you couldn't get out the first time. You can do it on office space, warehouse space, flex space, tech space, healthcare space, any kind of space that you might occupy. Gives you absolute leverage. Because I can look at the landlord and say, Mr. Landlord, I've got 4 years left on my lease. I know what it's going to cost me to be here. We need each other. You want to save your building? I might be able to help you. If you can't deliver the terms to me that I need, I don't have to do anything. Because I know what my downside is. My downside is what's in front of me, what the lease is today. So I won't be any worse, assuming, of course, I have a non-disturbance agreement. I won't be any worse. I can shimmy up to the edge of the pool. I can dip my toe in. And if what you give me makes me feel warm and makes me feel like I want to jump in, I can. If what I can't get from you as a landlord is, what I can get from you as a landlord is not sufficient for me to take that plunge, I don't have to. I can just go back and live out the remainder of my lease. That's leverage. I don't have to do anything. I will only do it if it makes sense for me and improves my company's position. Unless, of course, you do have to do something like get a non-disturbance agreement. Non-disturbance agreements are essential in this marketplace. You need to know that the time and energy that you'll invest in moving into a building, you'll be able to stay there if the landlord can't. Talked about a couple of those transactions.